How you doing? So, quick question that a lot of people ask all the time. What is, for Quebecers or Montrealers, what is the average cost of car insurance in Montreal or Quebec? What I can say is the average cost in 2022 in Quebec, it's $919 for car insurance. This takes the average for everyone. Guys, girls, old people, younger people. If you're living in Montreal, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than that just because it's more congested, more chance for theft, more chance for vandalism claims as well. And in 2023, rates have gone up again this year, as I'm sure everyone's noticed. Inflation sucks, the supply chains are slow, and what ends up happening is it's just basically difficult for insurance companies and car manufacturers and car dealers to find the parts. So everything's kind of slowing down. And yes, the cost of labor is going up. And yes, everything's going up. And you probably don't care because you think that we're just greedy insurance people, but this is just the reality of what's going on today. The good news is, though, is that Quebec is still the lowest car insurance in all of Canada. That's the good news. You can expect in 2023 for rates to go up to about, I'd say, $1,000 on average. And we'll get into all that in a little bit. All right, so how do you find cheap car insurance in Montreal? Well, it's pretty easy. Shop around. You can call us. You can call KBD Insurance. You can go online. You can go through aggregators. So an aggregator is basically it's a website that you go to, and it's going to do the shopping for you. So to get quotes from companies like, you might get one from Aviva. You might get one from a company called Lunique. It's basically multiple insurance companies, but not all the insurance companies. So I'm going to let you in on a fun fact. A lot of these aggregators, they make it seem like you're getting a quote from a million different insurance companies. And it is true. You are getting a quote from multiple insurance companies. But in Quebec, you're typically not getting quotes from the big brands. So, for example, Desjardins. Everyone knows Desjardins. You're not going to get a quote from Desjardins. Everyone knows Intact. You're not able to get a quote from Intact if you use one of these aggregators. Bel Air, maybe you know them. You can't get a quote from them. So, see what I'm saying? Long story short, you should be shopping around. What I like to suggest is go online, fill out a quote with a couple of different insurance companies on a couple different websites, and then finalize with an insurance broker or with an insurance agent. That's usually the best way to find cheap car insurance in Montreal. Also, another tip, just make sure you're comparing apples with apples. So for example, you want to make sure you have the same deductibles. If you have two-way insurance, make sure that you're getting quotes two-way insurance with the other companies as well, et cetera, et cetera. So how can I lower my car insurance costs? One way that we can lower your car insurance costs, this is a really obvious one, just drive responsibly. Don't drive like a Yahoo. When I was 18 years old, I used to drive like a Yahoo, which is why I understand why young boys pay really expensive insurance premiums. I was a perfect example, but this one's an obvious one. Just drive responsibly. Don't drive like a maniac. You're going to lower your chances of getting in an accident, which means you're going to lower your chance of getting in a claim. Second, how to save money on car insurance. Bundle up your home and your car insurance, tenant or your condo. Bundle everything up. There's other benefits as well, and you're going to save money, roughly 10 to 15%. Number 3, try to avoid making small claims. Now, some people think, well, what's insurance for? And you're right, insurance is there to make claims and pay out if you have an accident, but it's not a maintenance package. Try really hard not to make the small claims, because if you have basically, let's say you make a small claim for $500, you're entitled to do that, but all of a sudden, if you have to make 2 claims, for example, in a year, or maybe 3, so let's say the first claim is a little, I don't feel like spending $500, and you make a $500 claim. And then the second claim is an actual claim. Let's say it's $5,000. And then you have a third claim. Let's say bad luck. Car gets stolen that year. So those are 2 claims that you should have claimed. But the first one, you probably could have gotten away with it. You were just being cheap or something. Example. Now, your price is basically determined by a robot. It's all actuarial data. The fact that you have 3 claims in a year, you're most likely going to go into the specialty market, aka the substandard market. All is to say, your premiums are going to shoot through the roof. So if you can, try to avoid making small claims. Number 4, telematics. Telematics is basically an application. Download it on your phone. It tracks the way you drive. Is it tracking your habits? Yes, it's tracking your habits. Is it kind of like Big Brother? Yeah, I guess it's a little bit like Big Brother, but like so is every other application in your phone. So, but I will say this. If you are a good driver, you want to have telematics. You want to have, there's products like Intact. We work with them a lot. They have a product called My Driving Discount. It's a good application. It will reward people for good driving. This isn't a gimmick. If you're a good driver and you drive like a grandma, you're going to save money. Insurance companies want to insure careful drivers, obviously. Therefore, they will want to insure you. They will give you a better price. It's not a gimmick. Highly suggests getting telematics if you're a good driver. Last reason, or one way to lower your car insurance premium, have good credit. Now, I know like some people are like, what the hell? Like, what does credit have to do with my insurance premium? Well, the actuarial data suggests that people who have good credit claim less. It's just the way it is. And insurance companies in Quebec will give you better premiums if you have good credit. It's as simple as that. Do auto insurance claims affect my price? No, I was interested to kind of notice this when some people didn't know that. But if you make claims, generally speaking, even if they're non-responsible, generally speaking, yes, your premium is going to increase. Now, there's a whole array of factors that can contribute to your premium increasing anyways, such as where the insurance companies are at in the market cycle. Are insurance companies making a lot of money? Are their margins high? Or are they losing money and they're all trying to gain market share and the margins are low? Is the cost of claims going up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of other factors that go into determining what your car insurance premium is going to be. But when it comes to making claims, yes, making claims, typically in Quebec, it's going to it's going to make your car insurance more expensive. 100% if you have a responsible claim. So let's say you hit someone from behind and you're determined to be responsible for that accident. Absolutely, your insurance premium is going to go up, especially if you're under 25 and especially if you're a male. If you're a male and you just got your driver's license and you just had a responsible accident, try as much as possible not to put a claim in because your premium is going to go through the roof. You're already paying a lot for your car insurance. It's going to go up even more. For girls as well, not as bad, but for boys especially. Try not to, especially if it's a responsible accident, really try not to make that claim. Here's a question that we get asked all the time. How do I cancel my car insurance without charges? Easiest way to cancel your car insurance without charges is to do so at the renewal date. Okay, so if you have a policy that's effective from December 17th, 2022 to December 17th, 2023, stop the policy on December 17th, 2023. There's not going to be any cancellation fees. Now, some people think that the insurance companies kind of decide, like each insurance company decides what the cancellation fee is. I have a news flash here. In Quebec, all the car insurance companies, they're all the same cancellations. Everybody, the same. So if you get mad at someone for saying, you never told me there's cancellation fees, of course there's cancellation fees. This is just the way it works. They're all the same. Typically speaking, a cancellation fee is about 1 month worth of insurance premium. But if you want to avoid that, just cancel or non-renew on your effective date of the policy, your 1 year anniversary, essentially. How does Quebec car insurance work? Without going into all of the details, I'll just say this. So by law, you need to carry a minimum of $50,000 in liability. This is also referred to as one-way insurance. So if you have a piece of crap car, or here's another example. If the cops pull you over and they ask for proof of insurance, basically all they want to see, they don't care if you have two-way insurance. They just want to make sure that you have liability insurance. That's why the police will ask you for a copy of your insurance, and they will ask you for a copy of the registration. The registration shows who the car belongs to, who the owner is, and the insurance policy, liability card, we call it, and the registration, they need to match. The names need to be the same. If you show the police that, you'll be good to go. But in short, in order to be able to drive, you need $50,000 in liability insurance in order to legally drive in Quebec. Usage-based car insurance explained. So basically all those applications on your phone that track your driving, well, in short, what it does is it tracks your driving. What part of your driving does it track? So it's going to track your acceleration habits, your braking habits, the time of the day that you drive. So if you drive anywhere from between 1 and 5 a.m., it's going to ding you. Text and drive often, so distracted driving, it's able to tell that as well. So all of this to say, it sounds like, oh my God, this thing tracks a lot. It does track a lot, but number one, it's an interactive app. You can check the app on a daily basis and you're going to see what your score is. So you're going to see based off your habits, based off your driving habits, if you're going to receive a credit or if you're going to get an increase in premium. Typically speaking, I did it myself, and I don't drive like a saint. I don't drive like a cowboy either, but I'm not that slow. I got 8% off in total. And I always say, if you are a good driver, this is something that you want to download. You will be getting a discount, and insurance companies want to insure you if you're a good driver. Therefore, they're going to give you lower premiums. It's as simple as that. More and more insurance companies are adopting this. It's going to get to the point, in my opinion, I think this will be mandatory eventually. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's where I see this going. But all in all, if you want to save money on your car insurance, you definitely want to install telematics on your phone. How to get car insurance for the first time? Super simple. This applies to immigrants. So if you're new to the country, this applies as well to younger people who, let's say you just got your license, you're 16, 17 years old. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go online, or you can just call if you're more comfortable doing that. Go online, get a quote. I suggest finalizing with an insurance broker or an insurance agent once the quote's completed. And typically speaking, they're going to ask for your driver's license. They're going to ask for the serial number of the car, the year of the car, stuff like that. If you are if you're an immigrant to the country, and let's say you've been driving in let's say you're coming from the United States. If you want to carry over your experience from the United States into Canada, meaning that, like, let's say you have no claims in the past 5 years. Well, you want to show to the insurance company in Quebec that you have no claims in the last 5 years, you're going to get a better price. So bring your driving record. So it's basically going to show all your tickets from wherever you lived in the past 3 years. And if you can, also bring your, it's called a claims experience record. So ask your previous insurance company for proof that you don't have any claims, or let's say you do have, basically it's just a record in the last 5 years of what your claims are. This way, the insurance companies here in Quebec, they'll be able to consider the experience that you have. You're definitely going to get a much better price. Everyone keeps asking, and I'm sure that you guys keep asking because I keep asking, and it's getting a little bit ridiculous, and I definitely agree with you. Why does the cost of car insurance keep going up? And it's the same thing, like, why is the cost of everything going up? Well, number one, obviously we have inflation, so more dollars to chase fewer goods. There's nothing that we can do about that. Just if you print a bunch of money after the pandemic, this is just what's going to happen. But here are two, like, simple reasons. So number one, basically the cost of materials and the cost of labor, that keeps increasing. Supply chain problems are raising the cost of basically the parts that the car repair companies need to get. Labor is costing more as well now. There's a labor shortage, therefore the price of labor is going up. The second reason, which is actually not as obvious, all the new cars now, they all have, there's like, here's a perfect example. They all have cameras. So if you want to back up, any car built after 2016, you have to put a reverse camera on it. So a car from 2010, if you have a fender bender and you hit the back of someone else's car, yeah, you got to replace the bumper, but it's not that big of a deal. If you hit a car today, well, not only do you have to replace the bumper, you have to replace the actual video camera. You might have to replace the chip somewhere else in the car. So this is causing the cost of claims to not only is the part more expensive, but more parts of the car are being damaged when there's an accident. Therefore, it's more expensive to fix when it comes to insurance or when it comes to making the repairs. Those are the two main reasons, I guess you could say, two biggest contributing factors in Quebec to why car insurance claims are increasing. Cost of labor and the cost of materials, and basically technology on new cars. It's just more expensive to fix cars. There's more gadgets on them. It costs more to fix.